Nikola Tesla, also known as the mad scientist, was one of the greatest minds of all time. But he found himself trapped inside a system which has made everyone forget about his contributions to the mankind's progression. Nikola Tesla left this world at age of 86 with more than 300 patents under his belt. Some of them included creations such as wireless power, the radio, X-ray remote control, electric motor, rotating magnetic field, neon lamps, and many more, which makes him one of the greatest inventors of all time. Just as an example of his influence in the scientific community, once Einstein was asked, "How does it feel to be the smartest person in the world?" To which he replied, "I don't know, why don't you ask Nikola Tesla?" So, his life story is by no means an ordinary one. And in this video, you will learn about most important events and turning points in his life. From being a boy different than anyone else and being fascinated by electricity, to his legendary rivalry with Thomas Edison, and everything else in between. So let's dive deeper into the life of Nikola Tesla. It all began with a storm. Born on July 10, 1856 in Croatia, Nikola Tesla was fourth of 5 children of a priest and an inventor. At his birth there was a huge storm, and reading this as a bad omen, people said he will be a child of darkness, to which his mother replied, "No, he will be a child of light," which, as you will see in a moment, turned out to be quite true. A not-so-normal childhood. Nikola Tesla attended primary school in his hometown and was introduced to the subjects such as math, religion, and many more. A few years later, family moved to a city nearby. His real education and the formation of his interests, however, began when he started high school. He was a remarkable child in high school. He had a photographic memory, he could remember entire books, images, and could solve calculus problems in his head, resulting in a near-perfect score in almost all other subjects. His fascination with electricity, however, was born when he had a chance to see a demonstration by his physics teacher. This seemed like magic to him, and he wanted to know more about the power of electricity and how it worked. And to no one's surprise, he graduated a year earlier before it was time to attend the university. In the face of death, at the age of 17, Tesla returned to his birthplace, and right after that, while still a teenager, he contracted cholera. He was bedridden for 9 months and had a near-death experience. After surviving, he was in need of change. So, instead of joining the army or becoming a priest as per his father's will, he ran away to explore mountains in his country and read a lot of books. And according to him, this experience helped him recover completely, both physically and emotionally. After which, he went on to follow his true passion, engineering. The Technical University of Graz marked the next stage of his life. By diving deeper into the subjects such as math, physics, and even philosophy, his love for electricity grew. He was one of the best students, never missing a lecture, passing all his exams. He was so hardworking that his lack of rest made his professor worried about him. And at one point they sent a letter to his father to warn him that Tesla's overwork might prove hazardous to his well-being. But in 1879, everything was about to change. That year, Tesla's father passed away, and that affected Nikola Tesla more than anything else before. He stopped putting any effort in school, and instead of focusing on education, he chose gambling. And that led to him losing big amounts of money, including his tuition fee. And this resulted in him not getting a degree from the university. Immigrating to US and meeting Edison. This is regarded as one of the most important periods of his life. After gambling away his college funds and leaving the university, he moved to Budapest, where he took his first job as an electrical engineer in a telephone company. The company wasn't doing so well financially, but Tesla contributed to business growth in many ways and helped the company evolve. It is believed at the same time the idea of AC motor was born. In 1882, he moved to Paris and started working for the Continental Edison Company. 2 years past that, he moved to United States to work at Thomas Edison's company, the Machine Works. He worked in New York for around a year, and Edison was simply impressed with the ideas and inventions of this young man, but at the same point openly shared his belief that they were utterly impractical. During that time, Tesla was offered about $500,000 to improve the DC motor which Edison had built, after which Tesla actually did what he promised and improved the DC motor and generators to such an extent that the same design is still being used in almost all of our household appliances, from water pumps to the Tesla cars. And when the job was done, Tesla made a request for payment to Edison, to which Edison laughed and replied, "When you become an American, you will appreciate an American joke." Disgusted and betrayed, Tesla left his job and never looked back. When asked about his ideas being stolen, he replied with something which goes on to show just how selfless and passionate he really was. He said, "I don't care that they stole my idea. I care that they don't have any of their own." War of currents. After getting screwed by Edison, Tesla was dirt poor and was barely surviving by digging ditches for $2 a day. But finally, he was able to start his own company, Tesla Electric, thanks to the financial support from American businessman and Edison's rival, George Westinghouse. The first laboratory of this inventor was opened right in Manhattan, where he had just recently worked for Thomas Edison. The rivalry between Edison and Tesla existed for years and became known as the War of Currents. As the interest in AC system grew, Tesla and Westinghouse were put in direct competition with Thomas Edison, who was intent on selling his DC system to the nation. A negative press campaign was soon waged by Edison in an attempt to undermine interest in AC system. Edison publicly electrocuted dogs and cats just to show how dangerous it would be to have AC power in-house. He also helped to build an AC-powered electric chair which was used to execute criminals. But despite of all these Edison's dirty tricks, Tesla eventually won the War of Currents and helped to bring electricity to US. But personally for Tesla, this didn't change anything, as he had given up all the royalty rights for his technology, and what could have made him millions of dollars made him nothing. When asked about this, he replied, "Money does not hold value for me as much as making innovations which would make human life a little bit better." Similarly, there are many inventions which Tesla made but never got credit for. He was the one to invent radio, but Italian scientist Marconi was credited for it. And Marconi also won a Nobel Prize for it. Other examples would be X-rays, hydroelectricity, and there are many more. Downfall. One of the most famous projects he undertook was Tesla Tower, which, if successful, would have provided free energy to entire Earth. But famous banker JP Morgan pulled his funding from the project when he came to realize that this won't make any money. Tesla tried to keep the project alive after that, but the budget went ridiculously high and the project had to be shut down. And Tesla didn't take this defeat really well. It affected him mentally. He started to retire from public and started spending most of his days in his laboratory. He never got married and didn't have a family. On January 7, 1943, poor and alone, Tesla died in his hotel room in Hotel New Yorker, New York, where he had lived for more than 60 years. He may have been forgotten by the mainstream world, but he continues to live amongst us through his innovations. Okay, that concludes this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.